Don't tell anybody we're recording. You can't do anything secret anymore. All right. So tonight, three things I want to talk about. The Gita, Sparring, and VR. That's to help me remember. So welcome to another Thursday night meditation class. We're going to get into some philosophy. Who here read the Bhagavad Gita? Okay, everybody needs to read it. But I'll give you a very, very short summation of why I want to talk about it a little bit. I find it is very applicable to modern times. So the Bhagavad Gita is a part of the Mahabharata, which is sort of almost like an Indian Bible. It's the ancient stories of everything about life, really. It covers everything you could possibly think of. And one of the main things are these two families that are related, but at war with each other about land. Like, this is my property, no, this is my property. Branched off from two brothers, and they hate each other. And they're family, but they hate each other. Okay? So the Bhagavad Gita is a part of it that many believe was added later, but it is a profound and much more famous than the whole book, the Bhagavad Gita. So Arjuna is a warrior. He's an archer, he's a warrior, and he's leading his side, his family, into war. And his charioteer is Krishna, which is an incarnation of Vishnu, if I remember correctly. It's like God and Jesus. That same idea, but much older. So Krishna is in human form, and he's the charioteer, and Arjuna is basically going into battle, and he's looking out as he pulls out onto the battlefield, and he sees teachers and cousins, and it's like all the people from your neighborhood growing up. All these children grew up together, and now they're at war with each other, and he has to go to battle against the people he's always loved and cared about all his life. The reason why I say this is very applicable to modern times is because so many times, just in personal experience, family, friends, people who've always loved and cared about each other now seem to be at war. And I have literally heard patients on the table tell me how they have this good friend, but now they hate them. But they just say, I hate them. And it's because of modern, I'll just say propaganda straight out. It's just political views, and people don't seem to be able to accept each other's political views. Just hear them out and talk about it. Even if you argue, you always make up. No, people don't make up anymore. Now they just hate each other, and they admittedly hate each other. Both sides say the other one's stupid. They're so stupid. And I just try my best to stay in the middle and listen and hear it out. But say, you always cared about this person. Why do you judge like this now? Why do you feel like this now? Oh, because they're so stupid. So it makes me think of the Bhagavad Gita and seeing people you love and care about, and now you have to go to war with them. Arjuna doesn't want to. So Krishna takes him on a voyage, a spiritual ride, really, to explain to him about his dharma. That he's too caught up in the details, I think you'd say. And his job, his destiny right now is to fight this war for his side, regardless of how he feels about who he's fighting. Krishna actually calls him a coward. It's like, don't be a coward. You have to do your job, basically. And it's sort of like destiny. It's sort of like what you are meant to accomplish, what you are meant to do, and it doesn't matter how you feel about it. And that's the key, actually. Because our heads get in the way so much with the things we need to do. Maybe fear. Maybe we never pursue opportunities because we're afraid. We might want to complain about a job or a relationship, maybe even a marriage, and you just stay there because you're afraid to change. And your destiny or your experience may call for you to make that kind of decision. That's very difficult. But that's what's going to lead you down the road of the kind of experiences you're supposed to have. And a big part of this message also from Krishna is desire. Or sort of like, it doesn't matter what you love and care about. You have to do what you have to do. And then there's action and inaction. It's like, can you take action without desire? Can you do your job? Can you live your correct life without desire leading everything? Because desire also comes from the ego and fulfilling something most likely selfish for yourself, right? Just for you, rather than the thing you're supposed to do. And so that's the battle too, because we talk a lot about getting to the point of no ego, right? Realizing how you live is a big part about discovering your ego, how you see things. And it really comes back to you're playing a part in this world. You got to play your part. It doesn't matter how you feel about it. Like the gods wrote the story, you have to play your part now. And if you don't play your part, you're not fulfilling your destiny, whether you think it's righteous or not. And that's the not being attached to things. Do what needs to be done without attachment to results. Kind of reminds me of a lot of people ask, law of attraction. Do you think it's real? Do you think, yes, I absolutely do think it's real. But if you're too attached to results, you cannot pursue things fully with all your energy. You're going to be torn a lot. You're going to be exhausted a lot. You're going to be stressed a lot when things don't go your way. And that's really what Krishna is talking about, is being able to take action in the direction you're supposed to without attachment to results. And the results can be his family winning and getting his rightful ownership of the land, which it was rightfully his, and it was the other side trying to take it. So he can go through that and take whoever life needs to be taken to win this battle without concern for they're your cousins and they're your teachers, et cetera, because, and this is the key, your soul is eternal. So you see, ultimately it becomes all spiritual. That we get so caught up in the physical, in the flesh, and the material, that we forget the ultimate truth. People are so afraid today. It can be so manipulated, I want to say. But if you understand spirit, if you understand that you are a spirit having a human experience, well, that changes everything. It's like you're in a play playing a part. You're an actor. You're an actor playing the part in your play that you're experiencing of this world. And when you get that, that changes everything. Because now you can be Arjuna and go into battle without the attachments, without the fear. It's like, what is real? We make what we think is real by our beliefs or the thoughts in our minds. But what is actually real? Because you can experience things one way and they could be completely wrong because your perspective is just off, it's twisted. Think of someone who's actually got mental problems. They don't see the world normally. Well, we all can see the world quite differently. And if you put 5 people in the same situation, you get 5 different responses. Who's right? Like, how many people sit down and I can see how much stress they're under, and I'm treating them for anxiety, for example. And it's like, well, I have teenagers. Okay. But not everybody who has teenagers has anxiety. And they don't all have as much anxiety as you do, or you're on medication for it. It comes back to us, how we respond to it. There has to be more acceptance of what is. Learning how to, let's say it was teenager, learning how to deal with a teenager. Do you educate yourself in any way? Do you look for advice, or do you just fight with them all the time? We have to understand each other in order to act better in this physical world, but also accepting that you don't have control of this physical world. You only have control of your response to it. So we are ultimately spirit playing a part. Shakespeare, all the world's a stage, right? We are merely players. We should be able to play hard, go all out, accomplish what we can accomplish, but the stress comes when we want to change what is, not accept what is. To be unattached, I'll say again. And that's why I wrote here the Gita and then sparring. What is sparring? So in the youth program, I had a test tonight, and these are advanced students, and there's no advanced testing without sparring. Now, a parent puts their kid into martial arts, it's because they want them to be able to defend themselves. We have Qigong, so let me preempt this with, if you're just doing exercise for health is one thing. But to be a martial artist, you have to be able to physically defend yourself. And if you're not sparring, you cannot say martial arts. Martial. This is the self-defense, this is the physical part, this is the fighting. And the best martial artists, the most highly skilled, are going to be the least likely to get in a fight because they understand how to control themselves and not get in a fight. How many times have I said here? I teach people how not to fight. Not teaching them the techniques not to do. I'm teaching them how to get out of a situation. And even if it does become physical, the goal is still to get out of the situation. And sometimes you have to hurt someone in order to get out of that situation. And in that moment, it's like them or you. And this is Arjuna on the battlefield. Because it doesn't matter if you grew up with them, cousins and teachers and people from your neighborhood that you grew up with. This is your community. You don't want to hurt them. But can't we feel that way about anybody? Do I have to know you to care for your life? You think about that. When you know we're all the spark of the divine, and some people live righteously and some people don't, it's like, I still have to decide to hurt someone in order for me to survive. And that's the moment. This is Arjuna in the battlefield, not wanting to hurt the people he cares about. We should care about everyone the same. See the spark of the divine in people's eyes. Same spark you have. But sometimes you have to decide to hurt in order for you to, what is your destiny? How can you go on living if somebody wants to kill you? Sometimes you have to fight, and knowing how and not doing it is back to being the coward that Krishna called Arjuna. And this is why martial arts without sparring, because there's no reality there. You can do kung fu dancing all your life and have no idea how to defend yourself. It can all be a complete delusion. Oh, this is for that, and this is for this, and if you twist them this way and punch them that way, and it's all just theory. You have to be able to try it on a person. And if you don't try it on a person, you don't really know it. And there's another thing. Just because someone shows you application doesn't mean you can apply it in a situation. You need to do it hundreds and thousands of times. You need to practice things so many times that if the situation happens, it's automatic, you just go. When you have that kind of reflex, this happens, the body just goes. That kind of reflex, now it's like very much like pulling a gun. And anybody who has a gun better have training. You need safety training. You got blurry. You see me okay? Give me a thumbs up, okay. You have safety training, you have target training, you have to know how to handle it properly. You pull a gun without having your head together or knowing how to use it, you can hurt yourself or someone you didn't mean to. So it's the same kind of thing. It's like you learn how to really use the weapons and then you don't want to use it. You do anything not to use it. People have to recognize how easy it is to hurt someone, especially when you learn how. And that's why the philosophy and the morality behind, well, with martial arts, in ancient times, they wouldn't even teach application unless they knew you for years. So a lot of times they just train the body, build the foundation, get all the power and coordination, but no understanding of the actual use. And that's why in some places or martial arts that teach you how to fight fast, you may think it's practical because you feel like you have to defend yourself, but that person's going to get in a fight too easily a lot of times. It's like, now's my chance. When in reality, you want to develop the mind with the body, and you want to develop appreciation and respect for other people, their lives. So you can choose not to use it. That you can walk down the street, not with your chest sticking out, like I can kick anybody's butt, more like what's going on in my surroundings. So that I don't call anyone to come to me and make me a victim. You look like you're alert, you look like you know where you're going, you look like you walk or move with some grace and some power. You're not the one that's going to get jumped. It's going to be the one who looks sort of weaker and easier to take advantage of. And so martial arts actually teaches that if it's real. Because you can be a dancer and move with grace, but you don't have the kind of strength to do anything about it, mind or body, for self-defense. Although research shows you don't have to specifically train martial arts to have that kind of persona that doesn't get chosen for criminal acts, just in general. And then in the testing tonight, I'll just mention that in the long fist, Shaolin long fist, it's a very sophisticated martial art as well. And it tends to be a bit more long range, a lot of kicking, but also the sophistication of the sequences that they have to learn. This is both a blessing and a curse in the Chinese martial arts because it's too complicated, too complex, and people feel like it's a success just completing the darn thing. I can get through it, therefore I'm more advanced. And so I had to go through with them. What's the specialty in this form? What is this form for? What do you see done repeatedly that it wants you to get down for actual use? And then we used it with partners so that they understand that in the sequence, this is what this is for. So you understand where to apply more strength or power. And then of course they have a spar as well, trying to implement it, but also free is free and there's no fighting is never a form. But if you're just doing the form like a dance and you just remember, this is a big mistake. It's East Asian martial arts in general, they can really just emphasize form or kata and not actual use. I mean, I've seen video where, you know, I know what I'm looking at and I see in the comments, wow, this looks so good, kicking, whatever. And I see there's no power at all in the kicking. They said good kicking. So I looked at the kicking was not good, just the person was flexible. So this is what I mean. The delusion of thinking you're doing martial arts. You see, Arjuna went to battle. He was a known, powerful warrior. He was an amazing, the greatest archer. So he knew if he fought, he's going to kill a lot of people. That's what it meant. He didn't want to, but he had to also, he would die if he didn't fight. You see, his family would die if he didn't fight. What would happen if you don't defend yourself? You lose your life. Are you a parent, brother, sister? What's your position? What is the impact on all the people that know you? What are you worth? In a self-defense situation, you have to know to just take care of the situation with no attachment, no ego, no anything. In fact, you can help them at the end. You can call 911 or something if you hurt them and were able to get out of the situation. This is love. This is care. You don't need to be angry and hate them. Why so much hate in the world? We need to have more love. And as strange as it may seem, fighting helps you love more. Because to train to love yourself enough to be able to save your own life or those you care about has to fill you with the right kind of the righteousness and the respect and the love, because the development develops a whole person, a whole character. That's why going back, just learning fighting, but just buy a gun. You don't develop any morality, just buy a gun. Why do you need to punch and kick when you can just buy a gun? Think about that. And VR. So shifting back to the Gita, real battlefield, real people I love and care about. Real is the key point. He has to do what he has to do. And there's going to be pain, there's going to be blood, there's going to be a lot of bad things happen. But it's real. It's not a video game. Even though from spirit, it can be a video game, right? You just said that. You're just playing a part. But how far does this take you? In the physical world, we can experience spirit. What the heck are you experiencing when you're in this world? You're not even in the physical body anymore. You can be totally imagining, immersed in this world that is completely artificial, made up by others, like the Matrix. You remember the movies. If you never saw that, you should see that. Because you can literally be plugged into something and not even, you could be, your body is just falling apart and you're all alone and there's no real interaction with other people. Did I get blurry there for you? Okay, something funny here. Hello. Uh-oh, it's not picking me up. What's wrong? Okay, strange. You can be alone, you could be hungry, you could be dirty, and you're living in this whole different reality like the Matrix. How far now are you from God or spirit or our source? Think about that. That's why same thing here. Sparring versus virtual reality. Not even the electronics or video game. Now I'm talking about imagining self-defense. Oh, Sifu, this is a cool move. I said, oh, thank you. And then you go home, you forgot about it. You didn't practice it 1,000 times so you can actually use it. So this is, without sparring, your martial arts are virtual reality in the real world. Now take it to here. You're playing what? What's I don't know. I don't play these games at all. What the heck is that? It was a Mortal Kombat, right? That's famous for many, many years. Imagine Mortal Kombat. You're fighting, punching, kicking, all the fire, blasting fire. You don't need training. You just push your thumbs. Or now they put the glasses on, and I guess you're going through the motion as if, right? So the Gita, Krishna takes Arjuna on a spiritual journey to see the truth. And the truth can be reached through meditation. And that's what it says in there. It talks about sitting and focusing on the third eye. That's exactly what we practice. He teaches him, for you to know that you're just playing a part, you need to experience the truth. And the truth is the highest level of spirit. Real experiences, sparring. But how about just adversity in your life? When you face adversity in your life, this is experience that you get. And you see how you responded to that adversity. Those with more adversity become tougher, become thicker skinned, are able to handle the next problem. Those who never face anything for real, because sparring is the martial arts, right? The technique, playing it with partners, punching, kicking. You're gonna get hit sometimes, but in life, you can get hit emotionally every day. In jobs and relationships, maybe losing a loved one, you can face very painful situations that you have to deal with. That's real. Well, what the heck is this now? People think this is fun, but you can get lost over here. And this can go too far. I refer again to the matrix where people just plugged in. You know, just keep the body pumped with fluids and nutrients, and you just live in a virtual world. You can't get any further from the truth. Learn that. And this is where the world's going. Children are coming up with this stuff today. This is more real than the real world to them. And it's a trick. It's a trick. Because if I get punched in the face, it's pretty darn real. Could have a bruise for at least days, if not weeks, depending on how bad I'm hurt. Or a car accident, a real car accident, right? What kind of injury I experience, my physical body, and then how I respond to that pain, and the maybe rehab, physical therapy, the process, the ache and the pain to come back and bring my body back. This is very real. And it builds your will. It builds your it could be discipline, but inner strength. Because that too is a real adversity. It's real. We want to experience things in the flesh so that we can also get beyond that. Because those who experience some of the worst things can also excel in this world the most. They learn the most. It's like you came here to experience certain things. This is the Dharma. This was Arjuna having to fight the people he loved and cared about. He came here to do that. Now, he didn't want to do it. Krishna calls him a coward. Not living your real life, not facing your adversity for real, is being a coward. Why do you think we always say bravery? With bravery, you're facing your fears. By facing your fears, you overcome who you were, and you grow into somebody new. And this is real life. This is the voyage that we're on, so that it becomes ultimately a spiritual experience. But it's hard to have the spiritual experience without sitting and being quiet and allowing the divine to come in, that you can realize who and what you really are. So we're going to finish with that. But just to reiterate, the Gita, I highly recommend everybody read that. Bhagavad Gita. Understand there's a physical challenge Arjuna has, and how Krishna teaches him what's true, the reality, the amazing, limitless source of the divine. And then the reality of dealing with life, actually physically experiencing it, facing real adversity. And then how far and how dangerous this can be. because this is not fulfilling. It's fake. Let's go to meditation.